I'm lobbing you a softball, right? This is right in your wheelhouse. What are the 4 key words that you need to know for actuarial soundness?
Economically and efficiently, profitably.
Yep. Yeah.
Access, yes.
Yep. Quality of care and access to care, right? And you see how broad those terms are? How much interpretation is available in each one of those? Economically, efficiently operated. What does that mean? I could drive a truck through that, right? Access and quality of care standards. They don't necessarily exist for DV populations. Who's going to set them? You guys are. You need to push the state to be judged by realistic standards. Okay. What checks and balances are used to set the rates? I didn't tell you what checks and balances exist. I didn't specifically identify them. That's my fault. When we were talking about the whole idea of looking at those base data sets and always making sure that you match payment to risk, that you've got proxies for the population, you've got proxies for the service utilization, those are the reasonableness checks, okay? The next one, how to work from the bottom up. So tell me, what are the 5 steps in the flow chart that are the steps to a bottom-up rate development process? You've already answered, you can't. Okay, you are looking right at it. You're dialing, okay? Did you get one of the, yes, you did get a flow chart. What are the 5 steps, Charlie? Yep. 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 Absolutely, okay? We did not get at what other states are doing. How are we doing time-wise?
5 minutes.
5 minutes. We can open it to questions, or I can give you some idea of what some other states are doing for long-term care. What is the pleasure of the group? What are other states doing? Okay, so a lot of people point to Arizona, and they say Arizona is the cutting edge when it comes to managed care for long-term care programs. You know what? That's BS. That's not true. In fact, while the acute care services are capitated for the developmentally disabled population, the long-term services and support, the habilitation services, are not capitated. They're paid fee-for-service. Yeah. Most people don't know that. Yeah. Now, the rate methodology that they use to pay those is one of the best methodologies, and it gets at one of the issues that I think has presented a problem in Wisconsin. If we were given the choice, and so we do this in other states, states ask us, so Optumas is a strategy and actuarial firm. So we help them design their strategy, and then we help them price out the risk associated with it, right? Okay, so when they say to us, hey, we need to do rate reform, we're going to go to managed care, I stop them. Oh, wait a minute, time out. Rate reform and managed care are not the same thing. We just talked about the difference between payment rates and service delivery network. Managed care is nothing more than a service delivery network vehicle, right? So rate reform and managed care are not one and the same thing. In fact, I would say the bulk of you, if you raised your hand, could honestly say to me, your reimbursement methodology has not changed since the state went to Wisconsin Family Care. Fair to say that most of you were paid fee-for-service previously, and you're still being paid fee-for-service? Right? It's not rate reform. Managed care is not rate reform. So what we typically say to states is, you need to do rate reform first. Change the underlying reimbursement structure to get rid of those disparate service availability issues, disparate client experience issues, disparate service utilization issues, and then build that into managed care. Because otherwise, what happens? GIGO. Garbage in, garbage out. Okay? You need to be careful about the timing. It's not to say that it's too late. You can change. You can say, you know what? We need to come up with a more realistic way of reflecting service differences, availability, by geography, okay? And so the reason I bring this example up is New York State. There's 120,000 individuals in the developmental disability system in New York State. Do you know how much money they spend on those 120,000? You will be amazed. Everybody put your seatbelt on. Don't fall out of your chair. $9 billion. And yet they're dealing with the same issues you all are. Disparate service availability, disparate client experience, disparate service utilization. Doesn't matter how much money is in the system. Every system is designed perfectly to do what it does right now, today. Definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. Your system is perfectly designed to do what it does today. The only way we're going to change is if we change some of the underlying fundamentals. In New York State, groundbreaking DD reform. They're doing rate reform, then they're moving to managed care. They're going to use local provider-sponsored managed care organizations.
Discos?
DISCOs. Ooh, that's a brutal acronym. I should know what it stands for. Developmentally Disabled Integrated Service Care Organization. That's pretty good, I think. There's something still left up here. Okay, it's not just a hat rack.